back here in the game 2 lineup screen, we're facing Jared Eichhoff. We got Jose Urquidy going. Sandy Leon in the starting lineup. You can see here with his at-bats against righties, I'm pushing it here. With the usage, it can go up to 125% before I am penalized. So definitely considering giving Austin Allen the start here, maybe. Who I'm also pushing it, but you can see I've got more room to breathe here on the right-handed pitching. So let's do it. Let's see what happens here. Okay, here's an interesting one. Urquidy's gone 3. He's pitched not great. 7 hits, 3 runs. Here I am top 4. Let's see. And he's hitting with a runner on. My bullpen is pretty rested. I could start Garrett Cole in the next game, even if I kind of stretch some guys out here. I'm kind of tempted to hit for him. It is maybe a terrible idea, but ultimately I'm just counting innings anyway because I've used, based on our rules, which again you can find on our site. What I'm limited with Urquidy is his innings count, not his starts. Let's just hit with Lorenzen here. It's pretty low leverage, but this is what I'm going to do. Let's see here. Maybe Lorenzen will run into something, right? He's got a 344 slugging against the righties. Where are we due up in their order? Yeah, we get the bottom of the order due up next inning. Can kind of goof with some stuff here. All right. Yeah. I think let's try for... Allen really cannot run. Let's just go station to station here. I want 2 guys on for Marte. We got a single out of Lorenzen. That's big. He's the trail runner. He can run okay. And we got our boppers coming here. This game, it's a 4-run game. The way Urquidy was going was kind of scary. So I now have another. I can start him again if I want. I've got 3 innings of him to use, basically, in whatever kind of role. He might even come out of the bullpen later in this series because he only threw 3 innings. So I think the computer should allow him to pitch again in relief. That could be big. Okay. Past Eichhoff into center field. I'm going to go both second and third here. Seems like a pretty big payoff if it works, because then we'll have runner on third with 1 out if it totally works. Otherwise, we're kind of guaranteeing ourselves the run. Let's see. Throw goes home. Try for second on the throw. No, because I'd rather just have 1 out in third. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll risk the run for the out, but not the base for the out. So Devers, Damas still has platoon advantage. Galvis is having a day. Oops. I didn't want to do that. Well, misclick. What are you going to do? Fine. Okay. So no run on that one. I guess it was too shallow to score a run. But yeah, we've got this one in hand. That was, an interesting decision point. Lorenzen might come up and hit again here. But in playing with Lorenzen, he gets to just stay in. I can make him my pitcher next inning, which I will do. Yeah, here we go. Pitcher. And there he goes. So hopefully against the bottom of the order here and Mercer, this can be quick for Lorenzen since he's going on back-to-back days. I'll show you guys sort of the mechanics of how I'm using Lorenzen. All right, pausing here to cut to Trent Grisham's player page on the site. The game that was interrupted, in which I was winning 10-3, ended very uneventfully. Same thing with the next game, which I won like 18-6. So we're going to take a break in the action here to talk a little bit about Trent Grisham, show you guys some of the back catalog of video that either Kylie or I shot of Grisham during the course of his prospectum in high school and beyond. But yeah, so Trent Grisham's playing really, really well this year. Jake Mailhot has this piece on the site that goes in depth on Grisham's success and how Jake thinks that he's, a budding star, as it says in the title. And if you look at where Kylie and I had Grisham evaluated, it did not indicate that he was going to be that. So let's take a look at some of the visual progression of Trent Grisham's career from high school through the upper minors and then the big leagues the last couple of years. And then when we come back, I'll talk more about what happened statistically here, what happened scouting-wise here, and how this is instructive for the future.
Let's keep running. He's. Oh man.
Okay, and I'm back. So if you watch that sort of perplexed and said, hey, this isn't really all that different, you're pretty much right. Like, there's not a whole lot going on mechanically that is noticeably different from high school Grisham, well, Trent Clark at the time, through now. He has had some changes over the years that are not necessarily illustrated as well by the open side footage that I show in the clips. Some of the stuff from behind home plate makes it a little bit more obvious that his footwork has changed, but the way his hands work really has not. I can't believe I don't have it, but during the 2018 Fall League especially, Grisham was hitting with a big time open stance, like extremely open. And then if you go back and look at some of his early big league footage, he is wide open, but then striding close, like doing that scissor kick thing that Jose Altuve does. So you guys can dig up some of that. And you can see really what happened here statistically is evident in his pull rating and the ground ball percentage. So over the years, early career Grisham, the high school rap on Grisham was, this is a polished high school bat, maybe the most polished high school hitter in the whole class. But from a frame perspective, he was like already 6 foot, 190, pretty maxed out, not a big projectable frame. And where he fit on the defensive spectrum was sort of difficult to predict. It was center field if you thought the instincts were going to let him play there. Left field if you did not have the raw speed typical of a center fielder. I know some of the sprint speed stuff indicates that he's quite fast relative to the average big leaguer, for reasons further outlined in my book, Future Value. I don't love sprint speed as an all-encompassing measure of someone's speed. In center field, you need acceleration, you need long speed, and I still just think home to first times are the things that encompass both of those attributes, rather than sprint speed, which is just measuring your fastest single-second window in time, like it is a very brief snapshot of your peak speed, whereas home to first time is a combination of your acceleration, your peak speed, your speed over distance, and so I just like that better. Savant doesn't have home to first times for this season up yet, though. So anyway, if you look here at Grisham's pull percentage over his career, you can see during the middle of his career with the Brewers, it really starts to tick up. This is when he started to open his stance in this area. And then his ground ball rate, of course, over time also starts to drop. And so now things are at a situation where he's pulling the ball and hitting it in the air simultaneously. And he's also hitting it harder. In the new StatCast stats that are on the website, you can see the average exit velo is up a little bit. This is slightly below average. This is slightly above. And that's enough, really, like, to make a pretty significant difference. You see the uptick in the barrel rates. Some of the mechanical stuff that maybe was changed pretty minorly. On the video, you could see his move forward is not as aggressive. That front leg is not striding quite as deep toward the front of the box, which I think is interesting. He's a little bit more balanced in that really nice 2020 swing that's in the video. And then, of course, in addition to some of the swing elements that have changed, you've always had this crazy elite walk rate. The hit tool grade that we put on Grisham has kind of held up, right? Like, he's still hitting about 230 in the big leagues. He's running so many deep counts that he's going to strike out a bunch. He's running low BABIPs. It's just historically been a thing that he does when you're hitting the ball in the air as much as he does now, and to your pull side as much as he does. You're probably going to run a low BABIP because of what the defense is able to predict out of you. But what is not reflected in this tool set, but is on the board. Did I close out of my thing? Yeah. If you go over to the board, which I've goofed and not kept up, and look at the hitter tool grades, now we have pitch selection and bat control on there as well. And so, like, Grisham would be an 80 pitch selection guy, like Nolan Jones and Zach Collins are now. It's a valuable skill. It's just not reflected in the traditional tools. It is on the board, just not on the prospect reports tool grades on the player page. So yeah, like super high OBP guy. The game power is where we have under projected. We put a 40 on the game power, but now he seems to be getting to it sufficiently now that I'd probably stick a 50 on it, maybe a 55, depending on how things go here. The raw is still pretty close to average, but he's just hitting the ball in the air so reliably and to his pull side where he's doing damage that the game power is probably a 50 or maybe a 55 here. It's sort of like the range that I think is likely. So yeah, we pretty badly under projected on the power, but he's just made necessary adjustments, and it's been pretty interesting. I think the leaderboards, yeah, you can go through the leaderboards too and find the plate discipline tab on the leaderboards and sift through. Grisham is among the best at not swinging at pitches out of the zone. He has one of the lowest swing percentages in baseball, period. It's in like the low to mid 30%, which is like in Mike Trout range. All the names that you'll see in that cluster are really strong performers. And then the inverse of it, the guys who swing a ton right now are like Luis Roberts. Bo Bichette is swinging a lot as well. And of course, some of these guys have margin for error because of how talented they are at putting the bat on the ball. But those are some guys who I'd look to, be adjusted to by opposing pitching. Whereas I don't know what you do with Grisham. I don't know how teams have to figure out how to attack him now rather than try to pitch around a guy like this. Like, he's just gonna take pitches out of the strike zone all day. So, it's been an interesting early career for Grisham, an interesting challenge trade between the Padres and Brewers to get Luis Urias over to Milwaukee and Grisham to San Diego. Check out Jake Mailhot's piece for more in-depth coverage of Grisham. Now back to the Diamond Mine action. So we had a 2-run first. I've moved Corbin up in the rotation here. I could have gone him, Cole, or Odorizzi. Corbin's got enough starts remaining that I can double him up in a series and get away with it. And so at some point, I'd like to try to set myself up to do that. So I slid him up to this day. I'm trying to skip German Marquez and James Paxton each one more time after this series. One of the starts I'm probably going to give to a free agent pickup. I'm hoping that it's Alec Mills. I'd like to do it against a lesser team remaining on my schedule, and I'd like it to be someone with a righty-heavy lineup. So he is on my radar as like a situational ad for that type of thing. I checked with Bill Mitchell, like the assistant commissioner, I guess, for all intents and purposes. And even though I drafted Mills, because I dropped him, I cannot retain him. So it wasn't the best drop, considering he's in the Cubs rotation. But I was looking at some of his underlying stuff. He and Jake Arrieta are giving up a lot of contact. So not sure how that's going to look in another 6 weeks, but Mills is going to be in the draft pool regardless. So if I pick him up, make a spot start, drop him against a righty-heavy lineup, I think that that's going to be one of my Paxton and Marquez starts that I have to skip yet. And that's if I can move Corbin successfully to a point where he can make an extra start, then he's the other one, and that'd be ideal. Certainly better than anybody I could pick up. And better than another abbreviated Urquidy start or Genesis Cabrera or Jonathan Loaizaga getting a start. So that's where I'm at with that. So we have a 2-run lead early in this guy. And hopefully I see you deep in the game and Pat Corbin is still going, especially after we used 6 innings worth of bullpen in the previous game. Go ahead. Go for it. I dare you. Great. Let's go. Yeah. All right, baby. Okay, welcome back. Things are a little bit hairy right now. Corbin has pitched really well to this point, bottom 7. With 2 outs, Greg Allen singled. Then opponent used Jordy Mercer to hit in the 8-hole. Mercer's numbers against lefties are good. I let Corbin pitch to him, but pitch around him, and Mercer doubled. Allen did not even have the opportunity to advance to score. But anyway, Mike Ford is now at the plate. He's the tying run. His small sample numbers against lefties are kind of crazy, and I'm really worried about him homering here. But I also don't want to put the tying run aboard. And also it feels really silly to hit with him, to pitch him with a righty here. I think I'm going to. I have made this mistake before. Let's go Brad Hand. He hasn't thrown yet. This is a high leverage spot, so let's just snuff out this fire. All right, now we're getting Kristen Stewart here, which we just have to live with. Okay, we got him. Good deal. So yeah, here we are, 3-0 now in the 8th. Opponent's got to do the Jordy Mercer pitcher thing here. Okay. let Hayward face the righty. At one point in the middle innings, maybe if you noticed, the starting lineup had Brasso in right field, Jason Hayward in center field, and Ketel Marte at second base. At one point, it just made sense to me to use Galvis to hit for Brasso, who's just got better pop against righties. And then I kicked Marte to center, Hayward to right, and Freddie stayed in at second base. I think this is a situation where I'm going to try to steal and get Kingery into scoring position. Okay. So now we can either try to upgrade Freddie Galvis to like Marwin Gonzalez or something here, or we can let it ride. I think if Freddie walks, then we want to upgrade Leone. Yeah, all right. So they walked Freddie, so I'm going to make them pay. Right, like it just makes sense to give these higher leverage ABs to Marwin, even if his usage against righties has kind of been pretty heavy. And then can I... I'm trying to think here. Let's just see how this goes. This is what I want to do, though. This is the move for this point in the game. This is my bench bat, switch hitter who's good against both sides. This is who I want taking ABs in this situation. And then I think I'm going to stick the pitcher spot here if he gets on. Let's just see how this goes. Okay. So I'm going to stick the pitcher spot here where Marwin was and then put the catcher as my leadoff hitter for next inning. My opponent has righty, all righties available. I don't know if he could force Paul Fry into the game. Maybe that's possible. But the pitcher spot is going to go, we have all righties in the 8th. Let's go with Rogers again, right? Yeah. Rogers is going to go here. And then Casali, let's say. Give him an AB. Okay. All right, so hey, Matt Chapman hit a 3-run homer, top 9, and we have a 6-run lead. So I'm going to go low leverage here in the bottom of the 9th. Looks like we're up 2-1 in this series.